Welcome back to the post game. Michael Brooks here, along with our esteemed guest, Professor Richard Wolff. And joining us now, I'm very excited to have her, is Dominique Rémy. She's a New York-based filmmaker. She's working on her first feature film, Canary, which is what we're going to talk about and what we can all help make happen. She's also the host of a culture podcast called The Bronx with Love. I and David Griscom, as well as Matt Leck, are all equally offended, along with Professor Wolff, that we haven't been invited to be on it yet. Dominique, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. We will talk a little bit more about having a segment for all of you guys to be on the podcast for sure.
All right. Well, I think our business here is done. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I'm heading out now.
Dominique, what is the story of the Canary project and film, and how does it fit? I mean, you're a really important part of the community. You've really sophisticated political analysis. I know you've talked with David about this project. You've talked with me. You want to talk with Professor Wolff and everybody else. What's the story of Canary?
Yeah, so it's been maybe 2.5 years now in the making. I feel like, and then we've talked about this when I called in the first time, my political consciousness kind of came to life during the 2016 election. And part of that was trying to understand where I fit in like larger feminist discourse. And I found really quickly that I was pretty disappointed with the lack of diversity and the lack of awareness around women of color. A lot of the discourse actually is centered around choice. And I think when you expand it, we're going to be using the reproductive justice framework, which is a little bit more expansive, and it does include choice, but it also includes the choice to be a parent. And I think that's really important because when you look at the states with the most draconian abortion laws, they also happen to have really high rates of maternal mortality and morbidity, and that's not by coincidence. And I think that's something that needs to be acknowledged.
What is talk about Canary as an example and the story that you want to tell in this film to illustrate reproductive justice?
Yeah, absolutely. So I feel like when we hear the statistics or we hear headlines about women either dying or having near-death experiences, I think that is the end result. So for me, I toyed around with the title a little bit, but then when I was talking to nurse Monica McLemore, who is a leading researcher in reproductive justice out in the Bay Area, and we were talking about, I want to have a really sociological, 30,000 bird's eye view of what is happening around us that's leading to this, because it's really perplexing, and it's very perplexing if you don't have a class analysis or an analysis about race and oppression in this country. Why this country, having been we're the most developed in the world, have such high rates that we actually have similar rates to use a neoliberal term, underdeveloped worlds in the global south. So that's really perplexing to me. So I figured, so that's how one part of the story. There's something that leads up to the deaths that we have to figure out. And like you kind of said, it serves as a metaphorical canary in the coal mine, because they signal something that we need to figure out, where is this poisonous gas coming from and what is happening. And what I'd like to do is explore that utilizing a really multidisciplinary approach with sociology, history, economics, and cultural and also environmental.
Professor Wolf, do you have any thoughts so far on this project?
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful project. It is a way into analyzing the society around a dramatic reality. That's always a good teaching device. It's always a good way to get people thinking and talking about both the specific issue you're focused on, but all the larger dimensions that you are, because I can hear it from the way you're describing it, that you're going to touch on, so that you're going to do the kind of broad analysis around a specific topic. That's what everybody needs, and I think will be responded to very well if you can pull that off.
Yeah, I'm really hoping I can pull it off. I find that, again, going back to my own, so this project means a lot to me. One, I am a Black woman, and I inhabit the women of color spaces, but also it really does pull together a lot of my own personal political journey and awakening. And I think that, we cannot just talk about one of the things that is really emphasized when we hear about these stories, especially in mainstream media, is that, it's implicit bias within, the medical community, which I understand is an absolute thing, but that's just one part of it. And I think that when you look at the timeline in which a lot of women are dying or hemorrhaging out or like having really terrible experiences, it's within like 6 weeks of giving birth. And like one of the things that it's not afforded to a lot of women because of the privatization of, maternity leave or like family leave, like there's a lot of women who cannot afford to stay home for their own bodies to heal.
Right.
So that's an aspect that needs to be really highlighted.
Dominique, how can we support making this movie happen? Make the pitch, which we should all get on if we can, from to get on this GoFundMe page and help make this project happen.
Yeah, so I remember telling you, I was like, it's not going to be a sexy fundraiser off the jump, because this is a seed fundraising round that we're really looking for. I would really like to take things a little bit further. A lot of the things I'm talking to you right now is like me being steeped into the research phase of this project, but I'm very eager and ready to start collecting footage by end of year. We have it slated for a release and distribution by 2021. So I would love to get it started. And, I'm making a lot of inroads with people, as you know, with Kristen, to interview. But I really want to actually start collecting materials. So this is what this first round of fundraising will be. And it is, you can give whatever your heart's desire. If you can share it, that'd be excellent as well. I'm really looking to, one, not exploit my crew. We don't want that. So I do want some funds to actually have a team working alongside me.
Yep.
And also to collect footage and then to really show the progress and to share with Left is Best community. And I think that can really happen. I really feel strongly that this is going to be a project that's, we're all going to see it. There's going to be a launch party and everything, but also I really do feel like it has to happen.
I agree with you completely. And obviously, we're going to make this into a clip. We're going to release this on YouTube. We're going to continue to talk about it. You're the right person to do this. And this is an incredibly important topic. And as Professor Wolf says, I think a doorway into really everything that we're dealing with. Professor Wolf, do you have any final...
Yeah, and one of the most effective illustrations that I've been able to come up with that might be interesting for you to use too is that the United States, that you probably know this, is one of the very, very few countries in the world that does not have a law mandating both maternal and paternal leaves from the job, sometimes before, sometimes after, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months, sometimes in some countries for an entire year. And we're behind on all of that. We have no mandated anything. You get it if your employer allows it, if your union is strong enough to get it. But where in other countries they've made it the law because it's a fundamental human right and something that both the parents and the child need, in our country there's no recognition of it, and it is a stark failure of this society compared to virtually every other.
Absolutely. I not to give spoilers, but I don't want this to be completely doom and gloom documentary where it's like, listen, people are dying because of A, B, C, and D.
Right.
But we'd like to posit some solutions, and unsurprisingly, with reproductive justice, there is a underpinning of economic justice that talks a lot about universal programs. And one of the things that I want to really discuss actually is having a mandated family leave.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
That is paid, and that has a guarantee that the job is there when you return from whatever that leave. I mean, they're really making it for a country like ours, prattles on endlessly about family values. The hostility to the family is stark. Right. All the more so because of how glaringly it is different from the ideological junk that is spoken.
And then the neoliberal flip, which is like, oh, the ecological crisis. It's not Exxon. You're like having too many kids and don't have a dog. Right. This other nonsense.
Put your garbage in the right bag.
Put your garbage in the right bag. Don't worry about Chevron.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, Dominique, let's make this happen. And if you're watching or listening, we have a link to the GoFundMe. Hit it up, support it, continue the conversation in the community, and really good things will come out of this. And I also just want to say, I mean, I'm not that experienced at all in filmmaking, but I know that world enough to know that this fundraising target is actually extremely conservative and modest for doing it. So if you have sticker shock, I understand that 25,000 seems like a lot if you just look at it, but if you have an understanding of how much these things actually cost and how much time it consumes and how much resources go into it, this is very bare bones effort but one that is an actual effort. Because there's a desire to make an actual professional project here. So let's help make that happen.
Absolutely. I also wanted to say that I am part of the TMBS Discord, so I might pop in there a little bit later. You guys can feel free to hit me up, as well as follow me on Canary Filmmaker. I'm posting my links everywhere. But yeah, if you could contribute any amount, I would be so grateful, and share far and wide, please.
Yeah, good job, Ryan Gallagher.
Yeah, shout out Ryan.
$20. Well done.
Good job, Ryan.
First of many to come. Dominique, this is awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Bye.
You've just watched a Michael Brooks show video, and you can watch all of our full main live shows every Tuesday night at around 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And subscribe to get all of the clips you want. We're covering the globe. We're focusing on international relations, the intellectual dark web. We're having fun. We're doing deep dives with a lot of amazing guests. Of course, become a patron for the whole thing at patreon.com/TMBS, or subscribe to this YouTube channel and help us keep growing and get that content out there. Subscribe below.